Thank you, Presiding Officer. Democracy isn't just putting a cross in a box every 5 years. The mandate given to political parties once the votes are counted is substantial, but the folk we represent, for them to feel they have trust in our institution and a stake in the decisions that we take, election campaigns and polling day should not be the end of our interactions with citizens on policy. And with all due respect, politicians and civil servants certainly do not have the monopoly on wisdom. And despite some real effort, we can't claim to be an especially diverse bunch reflective of our nation, particularly in terms of class and race. The ideas and policies put in manifestos, as good or bad as they may be, wherever or whoever they're coming from, always need a lot further work within Parliament. They need input from and dialogue with a wide range of people and organisations to realise their good intentions and improve things for all the citizens that we serve. And no matter how much we might wish it, legislation and guidance that we pass in here are not always in themselves enough to make the changes that we wish to see. We have to understand better how and where the laws we've passed have made a difference or not. Have there been any unintended consequences, or are there gaps that need to be addressed? Public participation in post-legislative scrutiny would be incredibly valuable in this regard. I want to congratulate the Citizens Panel, the Citizens Participation in Public Petitions Committee, with the members and the Scottish Parliamentary staff who so ably supported them for the excellent work that they've done on embedding public participation in the work of the Parliament. And from the outset, let me say that I agree with the committee's recommendation that the Parliament establish 2 further citizens' panels or people's panels in the current parliamentary session. I think it's right that we work towards making the use of such panels regular committee scrutiny from session 7 onwards. And in commending their work, I'd wish to make special mention of the care and attention that was given to ensuring that the inquiry was accessible and that there were different ways for people to take part. As well as the main online platform, the PAC team and the Parliament's education team provided support and resources to partners and communities to gather a range of views. Now, I have personal experience of the excellent and creative work that these teams do to ensure voices that we can find easy to ignore or exclude can be central to committee work in areas that affect them. In this instance, that work meant that the committee received additional contributions from people with learning difficulties and autism via 2 discussions with the Learning Disabilities Assembly, the views of young people in collaboration with Young Scot and the Scottish Youth Parliament, and the views of school pupils in Lochgelly, Galashiels and Glasgow. In addition, I will take an intervention. Yeah.
Paul O'Kane.
I'm very grateful to Ruth Maguire for taking an intervention. Just on that point, which I think is a really important point about accessibility, would you agree that also our materials that we provide as a Parliament, particularly in terms of education and helping people to understand what we do in this place, have to be accessible, including easy read formats that would be recognised by people who have a learning disability?
Ruth Maguire.
Very much so. I absolutely agree with that. I don't think that anything should be coming out of our Parliament that isn't in those formats. It's not acceptable. In addition, people were able to write or email the committee in the usual way, which provided 3 additional submissions from Bord na Gaelic, the Scottish Election Study Team and Media Education. Committee members, I'm sure, will talk more to the process, so if I could maybe just share some reflections on the themes. Theme 2 was growing community engagement. And the committee's report acknowledges that the traditional model of parliamentary scrutiny can tend to prioritise those who already have an understanding of how the Parliament works and the resources to engage with its structures. I very much agree with them that this needs addressed. Again, I've witnessed just how beneficial it is to hear from a wider range of people, particularly those directly impacted, in making sure, and when we do that, we make sure that we understand and look at things in the round. Now, I do really value the contributions made to scrutiny by everyone who gives evidence and assists in committee work, and I am not criticising anyone here. But there's undoubtedly a tension sometimes where organisations or individuals giving evidence have been in campaign mode, either for or against the particular law that's being looked at, or maybe they're involved in delivering the changes that the law will bring about and don't wish to seem unhelpful or resistant to the overarching policy aim of the law being examined. I think that widening our scrutiny can only help in our collective understanding of issues and a way through them. I think we can all be inclined to being a bit binary and simple. You're either for us or against us. There's goodies or baddies, you pick your team. But we all know the world's not like that, and the complex issues that we're often seeking to address are not best solved with that approach. Properly engaging with the communities that we serve reminds us of their diversity and richness of not just characteristics, but also of opinion, and that will help us find a way through any of the challenges that we face. Like Edward Mountain noted, I like the idea of letting people register their interest in particular topics. I think that's really helpful. Most folk do not have time to be responding to individual consultations. I'm looking at the presiding officers telling me to close. I had a lot more to say. It's been a really interesting debate. It's an excellent piece of work. I thank everyone who contributed, particularly the citizens panel themselves. Presiding officer.